Hi, I'm Garth Ennis, writer of Preacher, The Boys, a great many war stories, and the new series, The Ribbon Queen from AWA Upshot. And I am on splash pages.
Sword of Omens, come to my hand. I, Lion-O, command it. Thundercats, ho! And you're watching The Dorkening.
Hey everybody, I'm here. I'm Drew with Splash Page. I'm here at Terrificon, and I have to say I'm really excited. We have one of my all-time favorite creators, Mr. Garth Ennis here. And first thing I have to ask, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Everyone is so polite, and I'm still can't handle it. So I'm gonna go right into it. The Boys, you know, your book that you did with technically Wildstorm and then Dynamite. The show is amazing. I read all of the books, so I can say that it's definitely one of the best, weirdest comics I've ever read. So thank you. And the show, I'm pretty sure the fourth season is going to be totally nuts. But you said in an interview, if you had written The Boys now, something you would have done is you would have included social media, and I quote, it would have made it 90% worse. How do you could you elaborate on what you would have done?
By which I meant it would have made the situations in the book 90% worse, probably 100% worse. I generally think social media is a bad idea. It has people thinking in sound bites, which is never smart. It's also, well, you can see the state of the world. Every stupid, boneheaded idea out there now gets airtime. All sorts of rabble and scum are given a say. I honestly think the situation couldn't be worse in that regard. And, of course, that would be perfect for the world of The Boys.
Okay. Yeah, and honestly, I never thought about that, but now I just feel like I got to deactivate. If I had a Twitter, I'd deactivate it right now. Just I don't want to compute. So the other thing is I learned one of your first American comics was Dark Knight Returns, which I believe you said it was a kind of a weird start.
Yes.
So one of the things that being a Hitman fan that I thoroughly enjoy is anytime your character, Tommy Monaghan, would meet Batman, always referring to him as Darth Vader and such. So do you think in some way reading Dark Knight Returns as your first book kind of influenced your impression of Batman and how you kind of portrayed him in certain regards?
I suppose it's probably always there. I see Batman as essentially a complete bastard. The guy could make life better for everyone in Gotham City simply by spending his billions in socially conscious ways. Instead, he dresses up as a bat and goes around beating up mentally ill people and the economically disadvantaged. Now, I find it quite funny that DC, and I mean funny, not funny peculiar,
Right.
that DC have managed to make a major international franchise out of this highly dubious idea.
Right.
So that, more than anything else, is probably what plays into my portrayal of Batman in Hitman.
Well, also, I read that years ago, you had also been kind of pitched a Superman story. I think it was by Dan DiDio. And he talked about how he wanted you to write it because everybody, when they're writing it, kind of progresses the character back to when they were 5. And you said you had ideas, but you're like, no, I'm good. You passed. And then I find it amusing because then you did a book where Tommy meets Superman with John McCrea, and you guys won the Eisner in '99 for it, which it's a great issue. So did that also kind of funny?
I sometimes think that people miss the point of that story, that Hitman Superman meeting story, because they kind of seize on the sentimental aspect of it when Tommy and Superman talk about what makes America great. What they don't seem to see is the little bit of dark irony at the end where Tommy, with really no sense of irony of his own whatsoever, after Superman has gone, pulls out a sniper rifle and shoots a man through the head for money.
Right.
But what the hell, Eisner Award, I'll take it.
Right.
I do remember Dan trying to get me to write Superman, and I just don't think I have enough Superman ideas to put a story together.
Right.
I do enjoy writing the character, though, as a sort of bit of Jesus Christ fan fiction. I do remember that lunch, so that was quite funny because Dan came hoping for Superman, and instead he got Section 8.
What? Yeah. Hey, listen, I think we all win there. So the last question I have is that the Punisher, a character you worked with the late great Steve Dillon on. You said that you came to him because he was kind of the character you enjoyed kind of reading, and whatnot. But you had a so-so experience working with Marvel on him. Like in one of the interviews, you said when you did Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, they rewrote a lot of your dialogue. They even rewrote some of your scenes, which you didn't kind of want to come back to it. But then because of Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada doing Marvel Knights, so like you can come back and you can do whatever you want, and to an extent. Kind of. And we got Welcome Back Frank, which is one of I'm sorry, I always tell anyone who's, you want to read The Punisher? Read this book. You'll see what The Punisher's really about. So, you're that. And then one of your scenes ends up in season 2 of Daredevil with John Berthenol. You have him talking to a chained up Daredevil about right and wrong. So what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, let's see. The Punisher wasn't so much a character that I liked reading as I saw potential in it. I have read very surprisingly few Punisher books. I read maybe a dozen by Chuck Dixon. I read an old graphic novel by John Wagner and Alan Grant. I've read some of the other Max Punishers that followed my own run. That's about it. So for me, it's never really about the Punisher and his history at Marvel. It's more the potential I see in the character. Whenever I write Frank, I sort of deliberately forget that anyone else has ever written them. I don't feel any need to refer to other Punisher stuff. Yes, it's true that when Jimmy and Joe started Marvel Knights, they asked me to do the Punisher, and they essentially promised me that they would do their damnedest to keep the idiots off my back, which they did. Yeah. And so that's why Welcome Back Frank was a much better experience than Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. Right. Of course, for me, I think my work on the Punisher didn't really come into its own until the Max series, which followed Marvel Knights. It's significantly superior, and I think it comes the closest to nailing what that character is really about.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Garth. I really appreciate it. Everybody, the boys, Punisher, Hitman, there's so much, and please, if you don't know, you should really fix that. But stay tuned. We got a lot more great things from Splash Pages, and stay tuned.